So guys, we're back. I'm going to show you my irrigation system from the beginning to the end. I'm not going to walk you through the watering process, but it's going to be pretty straightforward with the system that I have. So I have a Orbit's beehive system, which is a Wi-Fi enabled controller timer, and this thing has been great because one, it's cheap, and two, it allows me to, and it could allow you to be able to control your irrigation system from anywhere in the world as long as you have internet access. So this particular one that I bought, it's only a 6-zone controller. It was like $99. I also have a 12-zone controller for the main house, which is $109, which is only like 10 bucks more. I probably should have just got the 12-zone. This is an outdoor rated version, which is important to have because this thing is kind of out in the elements here. So what's important about having a good controller is that you got to be able to water your avocados in a way that makes sense for you, especially when there's a heat wave coming along. For me and this controller, I can be on vacation and actually turn my zones on and off as needed to manage the temperatures and water all of my avocados. So this is really the first piece of the puzzle. I have this set up in my barn area, and the key for having a Wi-Fi enabled controller is that you have to double check to make sure that you have a signal back here that will reach into your house. So if you do not have a signal, a Wi-Fi signal back here, you're not going to be able to make this thing work. So start there first, make sure you have a signal, and then install something like this. It doesn't have to be this Orbit's brand beehive, it could be any other brand that you can find, but I think having something that's Wi-Fi enabled is probably something that you should definitely get to, because it's really going to be something that would help, especially if you're on vacation like I was in 2018, where I didn't have one of these and I wasn't able to turn my water on, and essentially I killed a couple avocado trees. So get one of these. So this is my valve box. I have 4 valves in here. These are all anti-siphon valves made by Rainbird, and the water that flows through will actually go out into a filter / regulator, which is here. So this filter / regulator will actually filter the water to get rid of any like really small debris like sand, dirt, or anything like that that's big enough to clog your micro sprinklers. So it's important to have the filter, and it's also important to have the regulator, which drops the pressure down to about 40 psi. So all of these valves here are essentially, well, not brand new. I just replaced all of them maybe about 2 years ago, and they've been doing well. The ones that we had here before I replaced them were just bad quality ones that didn't work well, and also you can tell that the plastic was starting to like disintegrate. So don't know what was going on there, but these valves aren't cheap, but it's worth it if you're going to have a good amount of avocados, and definitely worth the peace of mind if if your valve breaks and you're in the middle of a heat wave. You know, you're gonna have to irrigate your avocado somehow, so gotta make sure these things are working. But for me, I check all of them periodically, as much as I can, to make sure that, you know, they all seem to work, and so far these have been really reliable for me. This is that 1/2-inch poly line that I have semi-buried in this section. Just kind of cover it with mulch. But in general, it's mostly buried, as it kind of goes to our different avocados that we have. So this is my Zutano. So the line kind of comes this way, and then what I'll do is oh, it's over here. I don't know if you can see that, but 1/2 inch line to a little barb that has another barb to 1/4 inch, and then I do a T, run one line to one micro sprinkler and this other line to another micro sprinkler. So I'll just try to cover it up. So the 1/2 inch that I ran pretty much hits up every tree on the side of the tree, and from there I run 1/4 inch poly line to my little micro sprinklers. I'll turn these on in a second here so you can see, but essentially it's that. And I also have like a spinner. Those spinners that I bought and used, I bought them from like Drip Depot. Came in like a pack of 5. I'll do a picture of it so you can see. But it's essentially a 360-degree spinner that has an adjustability on there. Also, I've been using these are ones I bought at Lowe's. See if I can zoom in correctly so you can see it. It also has this adjustability right here on the side. It has a threaded, and this is the stake plus, I guess these are called risers in the industry. So I bought this at Lowe's, and essentially you could buy this exact same thing without this little nozzle here, and it actually costs more for some reason. Or you buy this, which is cheaper, and it comes with this nozzle, and the trick is to just unscrew this nozzle and then take your spinner and just screw it on there. So, you know, if you're trying to save a little money, it's only like maybe 20 cents or something like that per stake. But I don't know why it would cost less to have a nozzle on there than the version that has no nozzle. Doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. So that's a little trick. You can buy this version, take this nozzle off, buy your little spinner, screw it on there, and then you got yourself a stake with the riser and a spinner. So this is a different like micro sprinkler. It essentially has a barb where your 1/4 inch poly line can go into, and then this right here is the adjustability portion of it, how much water will flow out. And then this one already has a little stake that you just push into the ground. So here's some of the tools you could use. This is a cutter for the poly line, 1/2 inch here and a 1/4 inch here. This is really nice to have. I mean, you don't need this, but essentially if you have it, use it. Razor blade works just as well. This is definitely something useful. I bought this. It helps punches a hole in your 1/2 inch poly. Once you punch your hole, then you add your barb. It's kind of like that barb right there. So your spaghetti 1/4 inch goes in there. This goes into poly, and then cut the length that you need, and then attach your little emitter. Straightforward. Okay, so I just turned it on, and there it goes. you can see it. But so this one micro sprinkler does more of a finer, like spray pattern. So both these micro sprinklers have an adjustability for radius and volume of water. What I like about the spinner is that it shoots water out that's a little bit like a bigger droplet of water. So when it's really windy, it doesn't really evaporate that fast, so that droplet of water will actually land on the ground, which is a good thing. We want the water on the ground to help irrigate our avocado tree. And there's an adjustability on the side here, so you could turn it up and down to allow more water to flow out and allow for a bigger radius. In general, you want to water up to the drip line of the tree, which is kind of where the canopy kind of ends. That's kind of where the roots are roughly. So I think I've done that with, you know, the different adjustments in water, volume, and radius using these two micro sprinklers here, and they've been working well because it's putting out a slower amount of water to allow the avocado to kind of slowly drink it. And so it's not, I guess it's just not like a ton of water all in one shot. It's just a slow watering that's going to allow the roots to kind of soak up all of that water, which is good for it. So in addition to the micro sprinklers, I also have a bubbler setup that, if you can see, that does higher flow of water. This is my Hass. So my line comes in right here for this zone. I did a 90-degree female NPT, and then this is essentially like a long riser that I connected to another 90-degree, which goes up to this bubbler. I'll turn it on here in 1 second to show you what it looks like. This is my Hass. It's gotten a lot bigger. If you watch my video from the beginning of the year, you'll see what it looks like when I first planted it. I'll probably link it up at the top here, but I got the bubbler going. You can see that. A lot higher volume of water coming out. I also have it on my reed. It's getting a lot bigger also. Well, I don't know if it's getting bigger, it's probably getting more bushy and more green. So essentially my line comes up here, and then I run a riser all the way up. Essentially it's a long PVC pipe that has a male threaded on both ends. It's kind of like a nipple. And then I attach the bubbler to it. And then it has a little flow control at the very top there with like a flat head. You can just adjust how much water you want flowing out. So in this setup, you do not need a filter and regulator. You can just use line pressure to run like the bubbler and run these PVC pipes underneath the ground that's already here. So you really want to do a filter / regulator if you're running like the 1/2-inch poly line. So it finally cooled down enough that I'm able to record a little easier without having my phone kind of shut down on me because it was too hot, which is kind of crazy. But in any case, if you can see my Hass, you can see the wet spot pretty much where I would say the drip line is, and that's kind of where the feeder roots are. So essentially that's what you would want to do when you're like watering. So thanks for watching. We're at like 68 subscribers, and we're headed to 100 maybe. We'll see. And stay cool out there, and make sure you keep your avocados hydrated, because they do love water, and they'll grow and thrive if you take care of them. See you later. Bye.